You're listening to episode 46 of the Let's Go Comic Show. On this episode, we talk about the Black Panther, the Black Panther, the Black Panther, and what? Wakanda. This is episode 46 of the Let's Go Comic Show. My name is Justin.
And I'm Matt.
And we are not alone. We have jumped into the hidden jungles of Wakanda and we found our friends.
We got rad friends. Rad friends, rad friends.
Welcome back to the show. We don't just have one rad friend. We have two, Matt.
Double rad friend power.
Double rad friend power.
All the way across the sky.
You guys can fist bump, but no one can see it. So they just pulled a cyborg flash thing.
That was just for us.
It was just for us. It was just for us.
That was giving me hype.
There we go.
Gas me up.
So 2 episodes ago, Fredo was on.
What's up?
So he's back. If you guys are like, man, that voice sounds familiar and smooth, well, there you go. And then our friend who's always on, Delon Anderson, expert of all things, and he's back. And so,
dude, he lives on 10.
He lives on 10.
Are you on 10 yet?
On 10 yet.
So we're going to talk about Black Panther, and we're just going to jump in. FYI, spoilers all over the place. So if you did not know about the secret land of Wakanda, well, we are going to tell you about it and all their resources and how they can make your life better. So
Textiles.
Dude, they put it in the clothes, dude.
They sew it into their clothes.
So as we talk about this wonderful movie, we're going to use at the end of the show our Let's Go Comic Show rating system, and
what is that?
That is a gotta go is the best rating we give. Beneath that is a let's go. Beneath that, not beneath that, is a go.
I believe that.
I believe that.
Believe that.
I believe that too.
Believe that now.
And then highly unlikely score we'll give this movie, but the lowest one is a don't go.
Don't go. Don't go see Black Panther. It's a bad decision. You're not going to have a good time.
This is backwards world. This is Bizarro Justin talking right now.
Yeah. All right. So first, we're not going to get 100% in the movie. We're going to just get on some expectations. So as we jump in, our guests can go first. What's your just first takeaways from Black Panther?
First takeaways or
Yeah.
expectations?
What were your expectations? Dang, someone's paying attention. It's like, is my wife on the show? You actually said expectations. Sorry,
that's not what you said.
That's not what you said.
That's not
okay,
what you
so
said.
expectations. What were your expectations going in?
So I expected it to be really, really relevant to everything that was going on, knowing that Ryan Coogler was directing it.
Yeah.
I expected Chadwick Boseman to really kill it because he's been amazing in everything he's done previously. And yeah, as soon as that first trailer hit, where it had, I don't even know what the original song was that they put on it, but it was so good.
These are Run the Jewels song?
I think it was the second trailer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just futuristic, but still very native and kind of back to the roots, I guess. But
from the first trailer, I actually didn't expect a whole lot. It seemed cool, but I was like, okay, another Marvel movie, and then the second trailer, I think it was that showed a lot more of Wakanda that got me pretty excited. And then I really just kind of got swept up by the hype train, and I was trying not to like I usually do, but yeah, I did. So I was expecting something really good, and luckily this one actually kind of. So yeah,
hit all the notes.
I had some high expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my expectations for sure was the top. Gotta go.
All right.
From the start. Even if the trailer was trash and it looked too corny, I would have still said, gotta go. It's Black Panther.
Yeah, I expected a gotta go, or at least a let's go. Just from everything I was hearing, it just seemed pretty awesome. The soundtrack got me super hyped, even though it wasn't a huge part of the movie.
No, but that was good, and I feel like that was a lot of the buildup that I realized, after seeing it. As I'm watching the movie, I was like, oh, crap, the soundtrack doesn't necessarily tie directly in. It has ties to the movie, but it's kind of its own thing. But the thing it did accomplish is it introduced me to sounds they were going to be using in the movie.
Yeah.
So, some of the drum patterns, some of that, Dora Milaje, every time they went into battle, that
yes.
the female vocals, I had already heard that because of the soundtrack. And so it was a really cool thing, to get so hyped up for the movie for the soundtrack, but it wasn't something that's like, oh, it revealed like a story beat or it explained something about the movie. It was kind of standalone, but I think kind of enhanced the experience. And just the fact that you had that was just kind of crazy. Yeah. Like a soundtrack like that with those artists on it, like in this way, like it's kind of bananas.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like going back to I think the way they put this together, like Ryan Coogler reaching out and saying, "Hey, Kendrick Lamar, put this thing together." Like, definitely,
and I listened to an interview. And he
playbook.
Actually just was like, "Yeah, let's call Kendrick and see if we could do like a song." And I guess they showed him clips of the movie, and he was like super inspired. And then a few months later, I guess he called up the executive producer and was like, "Yeah, he's putting together a whole album. Is that cool?"
Wow.
Because Kendrick like supposedly was just so inspired by the stuff that he saw from the movie that showed him early on that he was like stoked on it and wanted to create something special for it.
I wonder if they actually had some other tracks they already obtained for the movie. Like, okay, we'll just throw a soundtrack together.
Yeah, just kind of like curating it more.
All of a sudden, like, hey, sorry guys. They like had some tracks from the Fat Boys. They're like, hey, you guys are not going to be on the soundtrack. We're going to have to cut you guys too. Sorry. So anyways, yeah, I mean, I was looking forward to this. I wasn't on Gotta Go level yet. I think I was at just Let's Go. Cause I don't want to like set myself up and be like disappointed, but I was pumped from Civil War. Like he was definitely like, again, like we talked, he was like the standout, you know?
Yeah, and totally.
So yeah,
and we talked like a couple weeks ago, like I revisited it with my kids and it got me excited all over again. Like to see the movie holds up really well in general, like I said, but to see T'Challa in that movie, like I was like, I'm ready for an entire movie of this guy.
Yeah. There were, I did have some feelings of nervousness before, like right up to it, before I started hearing any word on it. Just cause I was like, this has a potential for a great movie, but I just didn't want it to be the case where there was a whole lot of like political weight added to it. I was like, I hope this is a good movie on its own, just because I didn't want it to be like, oh, this is great because of, you know, what it is with a black superhero or anything. It's just like, I hope this gets regarded as a good film because it's a good film. And luckily,
But that's a real sentiment too, because I feel like some people are almost nervous to go see it or nervous to be excited about it because they're like, man, it might be too connected to, you know, some political agenda or something that.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing is again like listening to Ryan Coogler talk about stuff. Like now that I've gone back and read like articles or listened to interviews and stuff, he kind of made a good point. He was like, well, he's like one of the superheroes that like is a politician.
Yeah.
Like, so it's going to be political. Like,
yeah, that's true.
Because I was thinking about it, I'm like, that's kind of true. Because I think the closest we would have to that is like Captain America could maybe be considered like a political like figure or like icon, but he's not like a politician. He's not like addressing the UN. He's not like running a country. Like, I was like, no, like I could see that. And I think overall, we'll get into the details, but I think I think it was handled real well. But
Arrow on CW is the mayor of Star City, dude. So,
I think I might have used the.
That's where they're taking that.
I may have used the wrong language because I think I didn't want it to be like how people expected Wonder Woman to win an Oscar because, oh, it's great that we have a female superhero. I didn't also want it to happen because, oh, it's great we have a black superhero. This is amazing. And it's like, well, it's more than that, you know, like. I mean, that is awesome, but it's like that's not why we should.
So you're just saying, not regardless, but besides it, the cultural impact it's having.
Yeah,
you just want it to be seen as this was just a good movie in general.
Yeah. That was the nervousness I kind of had going into it. Like,
that it doesn't have this weird expectation put on it just by the fact that it exists.
Exactly.
Yeah. But here's the thing: I think that like, especially in like our culture right now, it did have things to say, you know, and you know. And I feel like it's intentional too, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't heavy-handed. I hate when things are heavy-handed. Like we were talking in the car earlier. Like I read that comic a couple weeks back. And I was like, it just felt heavy-handed in its message, and I don't like that. I want to feel like I'm still being entertained, but it's causing me to think, not telling me what to think. Right. And so I feel like different people can walk out of that movie and have a different experience and a different connection. And you know, I bet you there's people probably walking out of there going, they shouldn't, you know, spoilers, they shouldn't share their technology with people. they need to keep it there. You know,
Yeah.
like there's people that may have thought that. There's other people that were probably like feeling, dude, like Eric Killmonger should have been Black Panther. Like, you know, there's everyone's gonna have their own experience, which is, you know, what art's supposed to do. It's supposed to like make you feel things. But, anyways, I feel like it's okay to push people and to push like ideas on the people. Not push an agenda, but like push some thoughts out there that challenge people. Because there was some challenging stuff in there. And my favorite quote, it was, "Wise men build bridges." Love that, dude. That's like,
Yeah.
if you walk away, I feel like that's like the shirt.
That whole end message to the
Yeah.
UN was so good.
Yeah.
I know we'll get into it, but I was actually a little surprised why they didn't just incorporate that into the actual movie
Yeah.
instead of.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people generally will stick around for Marvel.
It was almost like
post-credit.
two endings that felt very similar, though. Because I
Yeah.
think that would have felt like two endings if it would have just been tagged onto the end. Because it was some kind of thing with like someone asking T'Challa a question and him kind of like smiling at him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it did that with the kid as well. Like, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of
He
smiling
just
at
smiles at everybody. He's just like,
Well, that's part of
never
like
tell.
I want to actually
he's
ask you guys
either going to
about,
smile or I'm going to kiss you.
about like
So.
your like background, your experience with Black Panther before this, because I think that'd be an interesting conversation. But
Yeah.
I would say addressing like that specific scenario, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it showed like something about T'Challa where he is like everything about him is so like laid back and like understated that is almost like for me like a picture of the film to where like it proved so much while like the vibe it had was like it didn't have anything to prove. Like it didn't feel like it had to like do a song and dance for us to get us to like it, but it's like no, we're gonna have our own pacing, we're gonna have like our own stuff, and like you're gonna dig it, like, but we're not gonna have to like have T'Challa get hit in the face by like a rubber ball or something.
Yeah.
Right.
That would have pissed me off, dude.
Yeah, I first got in. So when I watched the Marvel like celebration party they did in Hollywood a number of years ago, where they like announced all their future movies. You guys remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
It was before Civil War came out, and they had Tony and Cap out there, and then they brought Chadwick Boseman out and said, "Hey, here's Black Panther," and they stood him in the middle.
Yeah.
And then you were like, you got the feeling that like he's going to play a crucial role in Civil War.
Yeah.
So then I started looking up him, and then I found out that Ta-Nehisi Coates like does a lot of writing for it. And then he had a book out that was already on my queue to purchase, Between the World and Me, I think is the name of it. I'm messing it up. But it's essays to his son. And I'm like, man, this guy is like a writer.
Yeah.
And he's like speaking to a lot of important issues. And then he writes for a comic book, which is like kind of breaks a lot of people's paradigms to think about comics. So that's how I got first introduced to him.
And that like you've read like that run, like that first story arc is called A Nation Under Our Feet, where he was, and you've read that
Most
that
of
run?
it, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like most of us have. I think Justin's only read like a few issues, probably.
There's a lot of words.
Well, and that's one of the things I was going to say. It's just it was very dense stuff that
The
I
art
think
though, Brian
made it-
Selfreeze, man. I love, dude. Brian, I'm an old fool. I'm an old fool. I'm an old school Brian Selfreeze.
You are an old fool too.
I am, dude. He did all those like Shadow of the Bat covers from back in the day. Oh, dude, they're all good, man. Anyways,
Yeah.
Brian
Do you have
Selfreeze.
any other experience like in other media, like Delon, with Black Panther, like prior to Civil War and Black Panther and stuff?
Not much, actually. I didn't have a whole lot until I heard about him being in Civil War, and then I thought, hey, they had the new comic coming out, because I've always been intimidated by characters with long histories that I know nothing about, so I didn't know where to jump in.
Yeah, totally.
But then when you were telling me about the new stuff with the Nation Under Our Feet, I started reading that, and it was really good. It kind of broke a lot of what I didn't know much about him at all. I didn't know about the technology part of Wakanda and everything, and that made him a lot cooler. So, I mean, that was the only experience I had with him.
Yeah, totally. I feel like I've seen him here and there, like in like animated shows or, you know what I mean? Like things here and there. He's shown up and you're like, oh yeah, like, I mean, it's hard, like, because it's hard not to, if you don't know much about him, to not look at the Avengers. Like, you look at the lineup, be like, oh, the token black guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
and so to have, like, that run of Black Panther, which is still going, like, he's still writing the book, Ta-Nehisi Coates, like, it was really special to, like, get to know the character more and to see some stuff fleshed out to where you're like, no, like he's for sure his own person. Like, and he just happens to hang out with the Avengers sometimes. It's been cool for me. Like, I don't have a ton of experience with him either. Like, I think that run from, gosh, it was like a year and a half ago now, probably, when that first started. But I also, like, with the Marvel Unlimited app, like, I've been, like, going back.
The Christopher Priest run.
The Christopher Priest run from 1998, man.
From
I guess,
Marvel Knights, dude.
because I kept hearing, like, that was what kind of brought T'Challa, like, into the modern era.
Yeah.
And out of, like, the kind of pre-existing, like, Jack Kirby, Stan Lee kind of era where it was still, like, you look back at that stuff and it was a little problematic for the way it was, like, represented, and it still had some things where it's like, yeah, people maybe still don't understand a lot about African culture or African people, because it seemed like really generic and kind of like stereotypical.
Yeah.
But then you get this Christopher Priest run. That's actually where the character Everett Ross is first, like, brought up. Christopher Priest created him.
Really?
Wow. And he's kind of like he's kind of like the audience surrogate. Like, he's like your entry point into that world. So you're seeing T'Challa and you're seeing the Dora Milaje. You're seeing these things from his point of view.
Yeah.
And it's a little more goofy. Like, they definitely made him a little more of like the straight man for the movies. But man, like, that run has just been crazy.
Christopher Priest.
Yeah. Like, the Christopher Priest run has been really, I think, eye-opening for me to see a lot of things about the character and learn about him.
And he has his little cape.
He did have a little cape.
His little Black Panther cape.
Little cape. And then actually, like, 10 issues in or so, he has, like, a long cape. And they actually say something like, aren't you going to trip over there or something? What happened to the short cape or whatever? It was kind of goofy, but I think it's been cool to get to know the character more, because then I feel like I have more buy-in for who he is and, like, I don't know, just what he stands for. Like, it just seems like it's been something really meaningful.
Yeah.
Now, like, to have him be like a premier, like, character and personality in the Marvel universe, and like one of the most powerful, one of the most skilled, one of the smartest, like, it's a big deal.
Yeah,
you know?
and he's part of the Marvel. What the crap?
Oh, the Illuminati.
The Illuminati. Like, so it's Reed Richards and Captain America and Doctor Strange and who else?
I don't think Captain America was in it.
I thought Captain America.
Reed
was
Richards, Namor,
Professor X. So he's like in that, like, brain trust of, like, the universe.
Wow,
dude, and Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's in there.
I still need to get to the whatever, dude.
And then the
Jonathan Hickman run from more recently, like, they literally, like, saved the multiverse, and he's like a key character in that.
Wow.
One of the cooler ones is when he takes over for Daredevil. Like, he, like, leaves. He's been, like, banished from Wakanda, and he has none of his powers, and he's, like, dealing with stuff in, like, Hell's Kitchen and stuff. It's pretty rad.
Nice. Who wrote that?
I forget.
That run, do you remember?
I forget, but it was
There
right after the
another pretty
Shadowlands.
popular. So
Francesco Francavilla was doing the art on it, and that's all I cared
I
about.
remember. Gosh,
Liz?
that guy's...
Huh?
Liz?
Liz what?
Sorry.
I was like, wait. He's like,
I was
I have
looking
a
up
list.
the art while you guys were talking about that, and I ran across it, and I just see the name Liz. But I don't know guys like you did.
Yeah, so I mean, that's, I think, not a lot of experience going into it, but I think that's
David
kind of been
List.
the thing.
David List wrote it. Sorry, I thought you said list. I was like, I can make
Sure,
a
we
list.
can give a list.
All right, so let's jump into then. So we had our expectations, a little bit of our background on Black Panther. What do we think? Like, now that we've seen it maybe multiple times, like Matt Ritchie's probably seen it every day since it's come out.
I've
Movie
now seen it
passed.
3 times.
All right. So
And I regret nothing.
yeah. So what are your takeaways? What are you feeling like?
Maybe some highlights to start off.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's no shortage of them. But again, our guests. How about Delon? Some highlights for you, my friend.
Oh, definitely when Killmonger shows up in, like, the throne room area, and it's just
That whole scene.
Man, because you're sitting there as the audience just like, how's he so bold? And then, like, just like everybody else, it's just like, this dude's super bold right now. And then you're like, oh, wow. That I leaned over to Kendra, to my wife, and I was just like, I really like this guy a lot. Yeah. And I think it was like maybe 15 minutes later where I was like, I really hate this guy a lot.
Dude, that hey auntie, like, that was
a great line.
Yeah.
That was just it was just such a fun scene, because it wasn't like fun because it was just laugh out loud funny or anything. It was just really neat to watch this character just be, I can't think of a better word, but bold. He just came in there and was like, all right.
He's very well put together too. Like, it's almost orchestrated everything.
Yeah.
He's bringing
100%.
and He's not surprised by anything. He's like, I want that throne. And
Yeah.
He's
You're all sitting there comfortable. Like, he's just calling them out. Yeah, dude, that whole...
And they've been there for, like, ever doing their thing and everything. He just walks up from the outside and just... Yeah, just the ability for a bad guy to do that is just awesome.
That's a cool sequence too, because what I loved about like that whole scene, you kind of feel a little bit of tension like rising as he's like super cool the whole time, right? Like he's not getting escalated at all.
Yeah.
Until like that guy's like, "Who are you?" And then he just like yells like,
yeah, he goes into his native tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah, Njadaku.
That's my name.
Is that how you say it?
Wait, what is it?
I think it Njadaku.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know. But
yeah,
it was
his
good.
Wakanda name. But it was just like all of a sudden, like, because they were like translating for him and like assuming like he was this outsider, and all of a sudden he was like,
they flipped on him
dude,
too.
I got
That's
your
the thing.
number.
They flipped on T'Challa like, oh yeah, he has to come in, dude. They're like, we must let him through.
Now you got to do it.
And then T'Challa's like, all right, I'll do it. I'm like, dude, you're going to get work, dude. You just knew. I mean, you knew it was going to happen. Yeah. It's funny. My son was like, Dad, I thought that was it. He's like, I thought
thanks for showing up, Chadwick.
Yeah. He's like,
I feel like someone else was saying that. Were we talking about that earlier, Fredo? I was talking to someone and they were like, dude, I believed it. Like,
oh yeah, I really felt the weight of him like
of like, oh, well,
he's
is he gone?
But he was in the Avengers trailer though.
Yeah.
That was the only thing, dude.
Nate on Let's Go was talking about how he thought that Killmonger was just the new Black Panther.
Yeah. He was definitely like, he has no idea. He doesn't know anything about anything, you know? He was just like, oh, dang, that's how they're doing it.
Yeah. No, that was great, man.
Yeah.
And there were a few moments in that movie where I was like, I know you're going to come back from this, but how do you come back from this? Like, that seems kind of just, there you go.
Well, Aragorn did it in Lord of the Rings.
There you go.
It could happen.
I have no idea. I have not seen those movies. But my son said, I thought, Dad, there was going to be guys at the bottom who were fishing that had a net and they caught them. I'm like,
that's a creative solution.
That's
that's pretty much what happened.
That's kind of what happened.
Because then M'Baku was all like, some of my fishermen found him and they brought him. So
M'Baku, one of the standouts for me.
Yeah.
I loved him.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. He was fun. That was probably like a really fun part to play.
I love his challenge in the beginning too.
Yeah,
like he brings up, he couldn't protect his father, and even hits him with that. Like when he looks at him at the end, and they're about ready to fight. It was,
when they came out,
fight. Oh,
it was a great fight.
Oh, when they come out like that.
Yeah. I know it was supposed to be like gorillas, but it should have been like DMX because they're like,
oh my god.
Down.
I loved him because I thought he fulfilled like
Rough Riders
his purpose.
Yeah, dude, they should have came out because they're like, Arr.
Like even if that was the only thing he did in that film, that would have been fine. But then he was like so much more than that.
Yeah, it was good.
So that was cool.
It was good.
I didn't expect him to like show up anymore.
Oh, dude, Nakia was about to give him like the last of the juice, dude.
And I was like,
already like, you got to be the Black Panther.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, in my mind, I'm trying to think like, oh crap, like, is this how he becomes Man-Ape? Like, and gets like crazy strong and goes crazy, like. But they totally flipped that on me, like someone who knows the comics, knows the characters somewhat, and to be like, oh, this guy that's kind of the stereotypical, like, you're the Black Panther, I'm the white gorilla, like, you know what I mean, like, and it seems like this kind of problematic, again, like could be like stereotypical kind of thing. And they took him and made this really well-rounded, believable character that's like redemption, but not in a way where it feels like he's never going to cause trouble again.
Yeah. And he's a vegetarian.
Yes.
He's a vegetarian.
Yeah, no, that he was good. There was no character in this movie that didn't serve a purpose. That's what the thing. Everyone had a point.
Yeah.
And that was good. And you liked him. Like, I'll tell you this. If I had a negative, is that they killed Ulysses Claw, dude. Like,
killing villains, man.
He was funny, dude.
But that's Killmonger's ticket into Wakanda.
Yeah, but he didn't have to kill him. He could. But here's the thing. He did because that's Killmonger's thing. He don't care, dude. And so it would have been
when he straight up told Homegirl it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Right?
So ruthless.
But selfishly, I want Claw to be around because he's just fun. He was one of those villains. You're like, he's funny.
So
Andy
good.
Serkis was incredible.
He was.
Yeah.
He is bananas crazy. Like you look at this and you're like, oh, you are like
the interrogation
way too many
scene,
screws loose.
I had Dark Knight like callbacks.
Oh yeah.
With,
No,
you know,
totally.
the Joker
I could totally
sitting
see it. I
in
didn't even
there,
think
like,
about that.
Like laughing, tied up. Yeah,
He was great, and that's the
He's
thing.
trying to
like,
rickroll like Everett Ross.
That's funny. He had the charisma that you want in a villain, and I was just thinking, man, I would love to see him come. You know, you can't, but it would have been great to see him come back again, because we didn't get him as manic in like Age of Ultron. I just watched it the other night again just to kind of see his spots, and I don't feel like he was fully developed out yet, like where he was going. But in this, dude, he was funny, dude. Like the moment he hits the club, dude, like everything he said, he's just so entertaining. Like he's so entertaining.
Talking
you
about
just
his
want to watch
mixtape and stuff.
Dude, they got to make it.
girl on the way in. Like, he's a boss.
Yeah, he's a boss, and
Andy Serkis, man,
he don't care,
that
dude.
guy.
Yeah.
He can literally do anything. I feel like,
well, he ain't doing Claw no more, so we're done with that, dude.
except for
But he
playing
should've.
dead characters.
Yeah.
He's not being Supreme Leader Snoke either anymore.
Wow, yeah.
Oh, dang.
Working
Disney's like,
himself
dude, you're
out of a
done.
job.
You're out, dude.
He's getting. They're like, here, we got a script for you. Oh, I'm dead. Thanks, guys.
Dude, him and Forrest Whitaker, they're like, we're just gonna kill every character you got. If any movie you're in, you're dead, dude.
You're dead.
Star Wars, you're out. Black Panther, you're out. You're done.
Any other standouts for you guys?
Dude.
I love the part where he travels back to the ancestral plane, speaks to his father, and his father's like, "Get up, you're a king."
Yeah.
I loved it. I love the music in the background, and then obviously the parallel to when Killmonger goes back and sees his dad,
Oh man,
and he's actually it's the same place, but he's in the room, like he's stuck in the room.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
that,
I didn't notice that till the second time. I was like, I looked through the window. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're on the plane too.
they're still in
Yeah.
the ancestral plane,
Yeah.
but he's in
He's in
the
his apartment. Yeah.
and he's flipping between like stuck being a kid and being like that grown up.
Yeah, I didn't get that part.
I think it was like this thing where he was like a kid again, like in relating to his dad. That I will say on repeat viewings, like that scene got a lot heavier and like more impactful for me, like on repeat viewings, where I was like really emotional. Like while there, like tears are like coming out and stuff. I'm like, man, like that really like got me. And I think like we could talk about like moments and characters and stuff, but even like themes and stuff, there's so many things, so many good things to take away from that. And that hearing this character talk about this land that supposedly he belongs to,
Oh gosh.
but he might never see. And even if he does, he'll feel like he doesn't belong.
Yeah.
Like that gives me chills even saying that right now. I was like, yeah, why wouldn't you want to do the things he did? You know what I mean? And to see the things he's seen and like, growing up a kid in Oakland without a dad, like, do you know what I mean? Like, he knows that, and you have that, even that line, like, just to go along with Killmonger as a character even more, like, so great. And I think a lot of people are talking about that, like, I think more than a lot of other stuff in the movie. They're really talking about, like, Michael B. Jordan's portrayal of Killmonger. But then that ties back to, like, one of his last lines talking about, like, can you believe it? Like, a kid running around Oakland believing in fairy tales.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh, like that's like heartbreaking.
Yeah.
What broke me in that scene was when the father says to him, like, "No tears for me." Like, and I was like, man, does he expect? Like, he wants him to weep, you know, with the fact that he's.
Well, and even his response too was like, "Everyone dies. That's life around here."
Yeah. This guy is.
And he says, "That's life around here." And I'm like,
yeah. That's what I'm saying. He said life.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
good.
what a great villain.
Yeah.
Like for a company that seems to pretty consistently misstep or disserve like their villains in their movies, like.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The best villain believes that they're right, and he believed that he was right, and he had a good backup to why he thought he was right,
and all of us were questioning it the whole time, right? I mean, like I felt like I was like, "Man, you're the bad guy," but I mean, I get it. But you're the bad guy. But I mean, you're not completely wrong. Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah. His motive was true in the sense that like you can help people, but the way he wanted to carry it out, completely wrong. Like I was like, yeah, well, you don't do that. You don't start a militia all over the world and try to take fools out.
Yeah, and say we're not only going to kill these people, but their kids and whoever else like supports them. Like, okay, that's like going a little far. But you have like. But you have, like you said, like the motive, like you get it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I got. That's what I was telling Fredo on the way over was it was the flip of what Nakia wanted to do. She was saying the same thing. Like, we need to help people. We have the ability to do it. And the whole time he's hearing it from both sides. Like, why does everybody want us to help everybody? Like, we need to keep it here. We need to keep. They want to keep a secret, which because they're not conquered and all that stuff. Like, there's a reason, but I feel like they're so advanced they can do better once they step out of the shadow, you know. And so obviously that's where he kind of landed at the end. Spoilers, but I love that there is that tension between both. But
Yeah, and I think that it speaks to the character of T'Challa and how fantastic he is that he was willing to learn from both of them.
yeah,
Like, he didn't just learn from the love interest. He was like, no, like he literally like learned a lesson from the bad guy.
yeah. He's a good king, dude. Listen to his people.
Say two things. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Number
Do
one,
it.
he's probably the one superhero that learns the most from his villain.
Yeah, because he did in Civil War as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
When
yeah,
he keeps
yeah,
Baron.
yeah.
Yeah,
Barely.
Yeah, Zemo.
keeps him.
He's
alive.
like, oh yeah, I'm
He's
not going to be
barely
consumed.
Zemo,
Like,
dude.
I've learned from you. I'm not going to be consumed by
He
revenge.
was Zemo,
yeah,
dude.
that's such a great line too at the end. And then the second thing is, I would argue that Killmonger is probably the best Marvel villain we've seen. I think Loki still kind of maybe takes the ground, but he's had more movies.
Dude, it's like Loki,
Yeah, it's
Vulture,
hard.
and Killmonger. That's where
Killmonger
it's at.
has, yeah,
And Robert
Loki
Redford.
who?
And Loki, Vulture,
Vulture. Yeah, that's
and
true.
Killmonger
Vulture was good.
and Robert Redford.
Here's the one thing.
There's really good actors in behind these.
Yeah, there you go.
I think with Killmonger, he almost doesn't feel like a comic book villain. He feels like just like a good character to me, to where Loki feels more obviously like a villain. But I like Killmonger more as a character. Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think
Well, but
those
you get
top
their-
three
but you still get
are
their
easy
motivations.
because all of the other ones have been not that great.
You get Vulture's motivations. They're like, oh, he's just trying to help his family out. Like,
Yeah.
he was hosed.
You're attacking that and threatening
Yeah.
him being able to take care of his family.
Yeah. You get Loki's motivations, like jealousy between him and his brother, and like being like the adopted one, like trying to prove
Yeah.
himself. So they all have these really great arcs, and it's why you want to see them again, especially with Loki. Like, people love Loki now. It's like, dude, let's do a Loki movie.
Yeah.
Loki Netflix show where he just hangs out.
He's not even like a true villain anymore.
Yeah.
No.
He's kind of playing both sides.
Loki
But
and the
you know
Pokey.
for sure Killmonger would only be
Yeah.
Killmonger.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, and he
Like-
makes that very clear, right?
Yeah.
When
He's
T'Challa
lock
wants
me
to
up.
give like
You
the
heal
olive
me and
branch,
lock me up.
yeah, he was like, "No, I don't want to be locked up. Like, forget that."
But that's
He doesn't even say,
I
I don't want to be on your team. So I
yeah,
don't wanna
but
be
part of
locked
me
up."
was hoping that there was redemption for him. Like
Yeah.
because at the end he didn't see that he can change, is what it felt like. He was just like, you're just gonna lock me up. Where T'Challa's like, I know we can heal you, or whatever the heck he said to him. He basically told him, like, we can help you, and he just kind of gave up. He's like, no. Either he knew all he wants to do is to still try to like either hit his goals, but I was really hoping like maybe he could turn him around and he could be like whatever, like what is he in the comics? He's just kind of like anyway, he can be just like another Black Panther and hang out with him in Civil War Part 3 or whatever the heck it is. Infinity War. Sorry, I'm like, what the heck is the name of that thing? He can join the team. So I was just hoping he'd stick around. So
That ending was really hard for me because it made no logical sense to why he would still be alive, because his ideas were just so contrary, but I didn't want him to die, one, because he was just awesome, then two, because you see him so much as that little boy that was dreaming and everything.
yeah.
You want redemption for that kid, so then when he ends up dying, that hurt, and bad guys don't usually hurt like that when they die.
He could have had a job at the Wakanda Center.
Yeah.
But I feel like it had to be that way because it was part of his
in a
character. He
sense.
was like, nope, not going to allow it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't that redemption wasn't available.
And I think,
Right?
and I
'Cause
think,
I think that's a different thing. When a movie doesn't allow for redemption to be possible, I think that's one thing. But for T'Challa to literally say, like, we can heal you. I mean, and think about it, like, if you've lost, like, a close family member and another one shows up, like, you would want to do everything you can to, like, man, I just lost someone. Like, why would I want to get rid of more family? Like, I have this opportunity that I never knew I had. And I think he's offering that. And I think it's Killmonger's, like, pride and maybe it's just he's so set in like whatever his plan was and whatever needed to happen. He's like, No.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a better ending too. I mean, like we
It
want him to
wouldn't,
live, but that's why it's such a good character because we didn't want him to die. But if he did live, we'd
Because
be
that
like,
would
he
be
should have
out
died.
of character for him to.
yeah,
Yeah.
if they just kind of threw him in a cell afterwards, you'd be like, oh, we've seen this before.
Because he had gone so far gone with his ideas that he was going to, give people guns to hurt children and everything. Like, you don't go that far and then after a fight, just,
Yeah.
it's all good,
Yeah.
On the train tracks, though, he does get a little vulnerable about, like, he's never seen a sunset. You
Yeah.
know, and his dad did talk about how beautiful it used to be. Like, so, like, I feel like his face did communicate, like, man, it's the end for me. And I actually didn't even take it really in, like, to be a king in Wakanda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it was
T'Challa
breakneck
walks him
though.
out.
That all happened in like a day. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
Like
it's
it
pretty
was like
fast.
walked in. He's like, we're gonna start shipping off stuff. Like it
He
was.
moves fast.
It was fast, which I liked. I actually liked. I'm glad it wasn't like this
Yeah.
prolonged. Like he's in their custody and there's a back and forth. It was like I'm rocking into the throne room. I'm calling you all out, and then we're gonna make this happen. So I liked all that.
I do think, though, that redemption does happen in the sense that he's the one who has to pay.
Yeah.
So he dies, and then T'Challa ends up like, all right, we're going to go back to your home, and we're actually going to build a center there
Yeah.
and be like the place where we, give scientific advancements and other things
Yeah,
and stuff. So
Yeah, that aspect where T'Challa is still pursuing like redemption of that story
yeah, like
and trying to
Oakland is
do
kind of
right
the
as best
bookends.
as he can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I feel like that's where like I see a lot of similarities between him and Captain America in the MCU. They're like they see the right thing and they're like, I'm going to do the right thing. But I think T'Challa, there's something else about it, like that seems deeper. That seems, I don't know. I can't really like place like a word on it. But I think there's similar in that, like, man, like I really respect you guys. Like you're just good people. Like you want to do what's right.
yeah.
I mean, to even like having T'Challa his second time on the ancestral plane, like call out like his dad and his ancestors.
Yeah.
Be like, no, you were wrong.
Yeah.
He says they're
You're all wrong.
I didn't
Yeah.
notice that until the second time. I was like, wow, you're all wrong.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah, dude, gosh, yeah, just so.
He's like, I gotta do this right now.
Because it seemed like already he was convinced, like, we have to engage with the world at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
we
whole
can no
movie is he
longer
was trying to
stay
figure out what the right way was. So
Yeah.
Nakia talks to him, and he like goes and talks to Wakabi to be like,
That's
Nakia
right
said
off
this.
the
What do you
farmland,
think?
yeah.
And he was like, no, don't let people in. He has this whole thing about immigrants and refugees. Where it's like,
Yeah.
whew.
That was
Okay.
dude.
Make Wakanda great again, dude. That's who that
He
guy
was
is.
like, no, because if we let them in, we let their problems in. It was like, ooh, boy.
Yeah.
But what's he all for? Like he's
Yeah.
all for it. But if we need to go like tell people what's up, then
Yeah.
you let me know.
I'm ready
Yeah.
for that. Send my rhinos right in.
Right? Yeah. So, all right. So, just kind of switching gears because I think we've been kind of hitting like all the heartstrings. But let me tell you, dude. When I saw Angela Bassett walking up the hill, I was like, she should have been Storm, dude, because she had her white hair. And I was like, man, she would have been such a better Storm
That did feel Storm-esque.
than,
could see
than
that.
Halle Berry. So she was like rumored. Anyways, that just kind of hit me. But then in the comics, Storm and Black Panther, they get married, So spoilers,
Indeed.
comic people. Like,
Indeed.
anyways, that just kind of
Well,
hit me.
spoilers for the comics as well. Killmonger supposedly dies and then comes back in that Christopher Priest run.
There you
So when
go.
he comes into that Christopher Priest run later,
Yeah.
and like,
Dang, maybe they'll bring
like
him back.
T'Challa's trying to figure out like, how are you alive?
Nah. He won't come back, dude.
No, he won't come back for MCU probably, but
But
Yeah.
you never know in comics, man. Anything's
Yeah.
possible. You know what I think we should talk about next?
Shuri and her sneakers.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say the women of this movie
Oh,
in general
yeah.
just owning the hell out of this movie,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in every way.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fantastic thing to see.
I like Nakia's little like circle disc blade deals. Those are cool. Like it was like Tron, like those little deals.
I love that she didn't. None of the female characters needed a man to redeem them or like get them out of a sticky situation.
Yeah.
And in fact, like the opposite happens.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
Even
jumped
in the
in
beginning of
first.
the jungle.
Like if you looked, almost every time they jumped in first.
Yeah.
yeah. Freaking, God, I wanted to call her Michonne because she's Michonne. on
Okoye?
Walking Dead. But yeah, when she jumps down off the freaking second floor
Oh,
in the
dude.
club in Korea,
gosh.
that was awesome because the way her red dress kind of like billowed like a
Yes,
cape,
dude.
dude. She just
Well,
that
pointed
scene
out
was
something
awesome.
cool. Like that was like almost one shot.
Oh, was it? Was it a continuous
So,
shot? Huh?
so here's the thing: when you have Nakia,
I didn't see it as many times as you.
Nakia takes out those dudes in the casino or whatever.
Yeah.
takes her shoe off, takes one dude out, gets another guy, takes his gun, shoots up toward the balcony, and the camera follows
the
up
bullet.
into the balcony, and then you watch Okoye and her fight, and then it follows Okoye back down to the floor.
Dude.
It was
That's really
bananas.
Cool. And the music too in the background of that.
Yeah.
So Vince Staples was at Ops or Oops is playing in the beginning, and then Pray For Me comes on. This is like
So Pray For Me is
Oh,
playing
gosh.
the song with The Weeknd. Like that's playing while they're in the casino,
As
and
the
then
doors
once they
open.
go into
Yeah.
once they go on the chase, then it's a remix
a
sort
part
of Ops.
Yeah.
And that's another one where Okoye is just like this badass, just like riding on top of the car.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
The spear.
And just like the look in her eyes, like she's just like not happy. Like she won't take anything from anybody, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Were
how
you
she
laughing
like.
at me?
Oh no, I
Just remembering.
yeah.
Solange's just like, I like powerful women.
It's true.
I do love some powerful women. One of my favorite moments was when I was telling Matt the part after T'Challa had lost the throne to Killmonger, and Okoye is talking about her loyalty to the throne.
Yeah.
And that just that bit just spoke volumes about her character and like
the way
how
she
you
played it, you could see it was like tearing her apart.
Yeah.
because she's this like she was a beast, and like it seemed like she was almost like a better warrior than even T'Challa, like in a way. I mean, she didn't have all the powers and everything, but
she called Nakia said, "You're the greatest warrior in this land."
oh wow, I didn't even catch
she
that.
told her that.
Yeah,
Like,
she
you're the
did say
greatest
that
warrior.
before she left her.
But then she was like, "You just come and go as you please. I stay here."
Oh man, that
She
line-
like challenged her like loyalty to Wakanda right there.
And that was a
Bam.
really great exchange
Yeah.
because it's another example, which I think you have a lot of them throughout the movie, where you have two people like seemingly opposing things, but you're like, you're both right.
yeah.
Because Okoye is like, so you serve your country, and Nakia's like, no, I save my country.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
dang.
And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
what she
this
says
real.
at the end.
There's no, like, I talk about this a lot on the show, but it's just like when there's no easy answers in a story, I think that's so much more compelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To where like Okoye didn't become like a bad guy.
Yeah. And she wrestled
She
with
has a
it,
sense
and
of duty and honor.
but
that
she
she's
also
gonna-
took the chance to like, because she was like, the battle's not what they call it, the tournament?
Oh, the
Or
challenge.
The challenge is not over. Like he's still alive.
And then once he sends out like Wakabi and the border tribe after him, like she turns on him and be like, nah, you're no good for this. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna take you out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time, dude, they just like slam their spear into the ground. It was just like
Oh,
the coolest
gosh.
thing.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest, like graphic, like just visual things to see
Yeah.
from the crowning ceremony or the challenge ceremony.
Yeah.
Where it goes in the water, and then like,
Yeah.
that little filter lifts or whatever that drains the water out. Oh man,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was cool.
It was a really cool way to
Yeah.
demonstrate those things.
All right. So here's a random question, and I asked you about it already earlier. When does T'Challa become the Black Panther? Because in Civil War, he has the Black Panther powers. So does
Right.
he get the powers before he becomes? Obviously, he gets them before he's king because he's got all the powers. So like,
I feel like there's probably a way to do that, and they could have explained it, but I would imagine like once
Dad. was
I'm
just like,
guessing
I'm
once
old.
T'Chaka is like old enough, he can be like, my son is going to be the Black Panther, and he's like the heir apparent or whatever. Like,
Yeah,
so when
and
I
he
die,
has
like
it.
he'll take it over. I feel like
in
that makes the
Civil
most
War-
sense in my mind.
Yeah, he does jump like far. and
Yeah.
he does some pretty supernatural things in Civil War.
and he's
Yeah.
run. I mean, he's running.
yeah, he's
like,
running
keeping up.
fast through the freeway,
Keeping up with like Bucky and Cap and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. He got
So no, I
claws.
think in my mind, like that seems to make the most sense. I think that they're like two mantles that are like linked, but not necessarily like you have to have both at the same time.
Yeah.
right.
Because
And-
even when Killmonger is like, I want to challenge for the mantle of King and Black Panther, like I want to challenge for both of these mantles that are available.
See, but I thought they were one. Like, if you're king, you are Black Panther.
That could be the case too, man.
Yeah.
You asked me a question. I'm just giving you what I think.
Come on, man. You've been reading all the comics right now, so I just want to know. You've seen the movie like 5
No,
times.
He's
reading all the comics.
mysterious. He's mysterious, man. That's one of
don't
the awesome things about T'Challa. Like he has this mystique. about
Also,
him.
another question. It's just more funny because I'm glad he wasn't there. But where the heck was Captain America? I thought he was hanging out in Wakanda. Why didn't he not like jump in the battle and help?
Maybe he would. No,
He just drops off.
I feel like he
drops
dropped off
him off.
Bucky and then
And
went
then
to
he-
get everybody else.
That's
Okay.
right. He goes and rescues everyone out of the prison.
Okay, there you go. I'm good.
That'd be
with that.
my guess.
Good answer. Good answer.
Which I totally didn't catch, by the way, when they bring Ross in and she's like, "Oh, good, another broken white boy for me to fix." I totally didn't make a
thinking
connection
Bucky.
in the moment
Oh
about Bucky.
I was thinking Bucky too. White Wolf.
But
The room
I
they
would
put
use
Bucky
that.
in, this is a random thought, but his room is like completely white, and the view is different. If you guys remember that scene from Civil War, they put him in that chamber, and they look out, and they can see the Panther.
Yeah.
By the rock.
This is
like-
probably different production design.
Yeah, I
but
was like,
Yeah.
all right, maybe they just like.
Cooler came in and was like, nah, dude.
Now we're
This
going in a
is
different direction.
No, man, this is gonna how it's going.
Russos, you guys do a good job. You guys are good.
Great job,
But
guys. I'm just gonna put this over here.
yeah.
I'm gonna let you finish.
That's like
That was like very like white and lit. And
yeah. It felt very like sterile. Like
Yeah,
it's like
like
sterile,
it wasn't in
super
the
modern.
mound.
It was a
Like
lab.
that's where her
It was like
lab was
generic
in the mound.
sci-fi lab is what it looked like.
And can I just say, like that can be the transition into talking about how awesome Shuri was and how she was actually
Yeah.
my
Oh,
most favorite
gosh.
character in this entire
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, she was fun. Yeah,
So good.
I said
Like,
it earlier. I felt like she played the perfect like Q. Like a
Yeah,
James
she was
Bond
Q.
movie.
Totally.
And loved and honored her brother, but then also at the same time was like, here, you need to learn these things.
Dude,
Yeah.
and it felt like a real brother-sister relationship, too.
yeah,
That was my favorite part of it.
yeah. I loved on the second viewing how she's setting him up for the suit. Like he kicks it, knocks it over, and she's like, "No, do it again."
And then
then
pulls up the recording.
Yeah. Because at first you're just like, "Oh, did he just not hit the right way?"
So she was totally setting him up, but I didn't realize it in the moment because you have her yelling at him. Like once he kicks it, she's like, "Not like that, you genius! Like come in here and kick everything in my lab." So it seems like he's like really did something wrong, but I'm like, "Oh, dude, you're totally setting him up."
Yeah.
Because once he's like, "Oh yeah," and then these nanites store the energy. Why don't you go ahead and hit it in the same spot again?
Yeah.
Brings up her wrist to like record. It just seemed like a natural, like good moment. And I think we've talked about like in other Marvel films that sometimes the laughs feel like cheap
Yeah,
a little bit. Like to me, none of the laughs in this movie felt
like Ragnarok,
like cheap.
balls.
Balls.
Yeah.
So they didn't do this, and I was hoping they didn't do it, and they didn't. They didn't compare to Stark. They never mentioned Stark, but I feel like everyone was probably thinking, "Dang, this is better than Stark."
Yeah, dude. Literally everything she had.
Part of
like,
me,
you've never seen something with Iron Man like that.
yeah.
I mean,
Like, you've never
most we've
seen
was
Iron Man have stuff like
his
that.
watch turns into like a part of his hand, but
I
nothing
want
like
him-
a suit and necklace.
I want him to say something though. Infinity War. I want him to be like, "Oh dang,
Yeah, he's got to take a jab.
yeah, that would be cool." Just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because I mean, I saw like just like someone's comment today, where I'm like, "That's true." Like the face of like STEM in the MCU is a 16-year-old African girl, and how like rad that is.
yeah.
And it's not like apologizing for it. Like she's not like, and she's not like this unaware person either. Like, I feel like that was kind of cool about Wakanda is like they were isolationists,
Yeah.
but they weren't like unaware of like what's going on in the world.
Yeah,
Like,
their
when-
dad was watching Back to the Future.
Yeah, when you're talking about, oh yeah, that movie that Baba watched, or when she even did that, like it caught me off guard, like one of those like "Bleh," like
Yeah.
laughs when she was like, the real question is, what are those?
Yeah, she went to the line.
Dude, and I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like that those kinds of things would be thrown in there, like, but at the same time, like their culture's intact, like
Yeah.
their
There's a real sense of
ancestry
purity.
is like important to them. Like
Yeah.
there's these things that are really key and important to them. All the while, like they don't have to like get lost in those and not be aware of what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, she like, especially on repeat viewings, I was like, dude, I like keep laughing at all of her lines. Like, oh, what was it she said to Ross? Don't scare me like that.
Oh yeah, colonizer.
Colonizer.
There was a great exchange between her and T'Challa in the beginning when he first arrives, and she says, "Just because something works well doesn't mean it can't be improved."
Yeah.
Yes.
And I felt that like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
she kind of broke the
Like just
the,
convicted a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's like she just turned to the audience and said, "Did y'all
She's
hear
like,
that?"
right?
Like it just, yeah.
She was like, Steve Jobs, R.I.P.
She's really, she's bright and innocent and pure, but very much like true to her values and stuff. So,
And she's down to fight. At the end, she was like, boom.
yeah, she puts on those weapons, and I didn't realize she was working on those.
yeah.
There's a scene where she was like
Yeah.
playing with vibranium, and she's like, yeah,
You can buy those little like claw laser deals.
Man,
You
that
can buy
was.
those.
There's like toys like that, dude. You
Well,
just
she held down Killmonger.
you
like,
just get that.
wow.
You just get that for your daughter ahead of time. Like
Yeah.
it's a few years in the future, but
That's cool.
yeah, dude. Like she was a standout.
And
me.
at the end, she was wearing Vans.
That's very
She
true.
was rocking Vans back in Oakland.
I like Delon's like, what?
She was some like stiletto vans or
I don't know, man. They were like some like
platforms.
They're like platforms, yeah.
platformed like
Sorry,
old
ladies.
schools.
I know I got it
man.
wrong. Not stilettos. They were platforms.
They're platforms. Send all complaints to Alfredo Ramos dash. There's like a dash or something on there.
Delon, how'd you feel about those characters? I feel like we had like Shuri, Nakia, and Okoye were probably like our main like female protagonists.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel kind of you guys kind of covered it. They just were really strong characters. I was impressed by all of them. I thought Shuri was the perfect little sister, and she was kind of like, for lack of a better word, like annoying, but the way like she was supposed to be, like she like it wasn't annoying to the audience, but like she was doing that whole little sister bit, and it was cute. I liked it a lot. But then yeah, with all the other female characters, even his mom, like they were just like such strong presence, you know, in that movie. I loved it. So.
Can we just talk about how beautiful this film looked?
Oh yeah, visually.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
And when they first get to Wakanda, the way that they like break the plane and oh gosh, it was really cool.
Yeah. I wish we saw more of the city tech. That was the one thing. Like we saw it going in, and you see a little bit of it because I paid attention the second time when they're like walking through the streets. You know, it kind of felt like, man, at any time Aladdin can roll up and steal an apple. You know, like when they're in the streets. But I'm like, I wanted to see more of like the tech. But you do see it. You see people like
you see people
really cool.
watching the video, with the bracelet.
You see this really cool like juxtaposition of the tech, but with like, dude, we're still gonna like make cool baskets, and we're still gonna sell that stuff. Yeah. And we're still going to cook. Yeah, we're still going to like cook like old school. Because that's the best way to do it, right? But I just wanted to see a little bit more was all. That was it. Just a little bit like, because I was tricked by the trailer.
The futuristic aspects of it.
Because it was all Korea. And I was like, oh, because I thought they're going to have this crazy battle in the middle of Wakanda. Like, could you see all this tech? Or like just modern lights. And it's just Korea. Yeah. So Korea apparently is really advanced if you ever wanted to go.
I remember the trailer gave me like the Fifth Element kind of vibe of it. And I was like, oh, okay, like that, but in Wakanda. But yeah, you're right. You're like, oh, this is South Korea. Actually.
There we go.
In Wakanda.
So
yeah, dude. And I also dug like that Korea sequence, like with Shuri driving the car remotely.
Oh, man.
That was cool.
That was so cool.
Shout out VR.
Yeah. And the way that like Ross ended up doing it at the end too. That was cool.
Yeah.
She's like, I made it. What did she say? She made it American style for him? Or?
Yeah. I see, and on that, I like that he didn't have the ability to actually be in the fight. Like he wasn't out there trying to like wrangle in a rhino or like stumble upon the sword that they used to like, you know, hit Killmonger. Like he had to be in a plane, had to like refer back to his old past. Because they could have like gone a different direction, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's trash!" Like you know, he can't fight against these warriors. You know?
Yeah,
but
and I think they sidestepped like the potential of like that white savior kind of thing that could be seen. Even though I don't think they would completely misrepresent it, but I think it was really smart the way they did that. I think
they just should have did one more take when he got that last one because it was really dumb. Dude, he's like. We did it! It was such a goofy. Like, I was like, "Can we do one more take, dude?" Because you, like,
they did it.
Like, but the way he did it, yes, we did it. He just seemed like this big goober, dude. Like, one more take. Ryan Coogler was like, "Dude, we gotta go, dude."
Marvel time crunch, man.
Yeah, they're like, man.
I thought it was interesting with Ross. Like, Fredo and I were talking this morning a little bit about it, but talking about like even his interaction with M'Baku.
Oh,
like you were talking about.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, how they he tries to speak when they meet with him, and the whole tribe just like barks at him. Like you don't have a voice.
Why did that stick out to you?
Oh, it stuck out to me because I feel like it's natural for white Europeans to imagine that they have a right to speak at any given situation.
Yeah,
and so that was like the first thought I had as I watched that scene was, man, like no, you don't have a right wherever you go to speak.
Yeah.
So and they'd even give him the due pleasure of like, well, we'll use words like we're gonna just. Like bark at you.
Yeah, I'm not even going to tell you to be quiet. I'm
Yeah.
going to just interrupt you until you stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they basically tell him like you don't have a right.
Because I didn't even think about the tie into that to where like he wasn't actually in the fight technically, like physically.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's actually really brilliant to like kind of sidestep and make these characters like, no, like we stand on our own and we don't need an outsider to come and do this for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, going back to that scene, what was? I'm thinking more about it because what you just brought up was like the Queen just addressed him and was like, "Here's what's going on," and he was like, "Hold up!" Like he jumps in there, like the Queen just told him, like, "Why you don't have to tell him the same thing?" Like you're not going to make it even more pressing because you're like, "No, but this guy's bad," and he was like,
Yeah.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Well, it almost falls into like that like mansplaining
Yeah,
kind of aspect of things. Like, oh, well, let me explain. Like, no, they're good. Like, they got it.
Yeah. He didn't even care to ask him his name.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So there you go.
He made a joke about feeding him to his children.
Yeah. No, we're just kidding. We're vegetarians. Oh,
that was a great moment. And
Yeah.
just I know I talk about M'Baku a lot, but like even like later once T'Challa's like up and like ready to go back.
Yeah.
And they're like having this moment and you don't even see M'Baku and you just hear this
Oh, yeah.
No.
the yawn. He's like, "Are you done?
Yeah.
Oh,
Are
yeah,
you
yeah.
done?" Like, and I was like, man, it was a funnier movie than I anticipated it would be.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was played off of the seriousness and like the stoicism of T'Challa.
Yeah.
Because you got a few smiles out of him, but it was like kind of a smirk here and there. And that was literally it. That's all you got from him.
It's like a GQ smirk.
Yeah.
Because he's like, all right, let me have a moment with him. And he thanks him and stuff. What's really cool is that in the Infinity War trailer, you see M'Baku.
Oh, is he in it?
He's in it.
That's cool.
His whole
Part
clan
of like
is in it.
the
Yeah, there's
armies of Wakanda.
Yeah,
and
there's a pan where they go across all of them.
that's
It's
cool.
not. I don't think it's the running scene,
That's cool.
but the other scene where they're all standing in the field and M'Baku's like right there, like to the
Yeah.
right of T'Challa, but on his backside.
Did you guys catch him in the council room too at the end? Like he was in the spot that.
Oh, was he?
He was in the spot that
Oh.
Wakabi used to be in.
Oh, that is so cool.
I was like,
good.
Kid
Wakabi
Wakabi out. He's like, hey,
yeah, dude, he's probably in jail. I would think. Dude, can we talk about his moment too? Because
Yeah.
I thought he was actually, again, like over and over again. No character is like this one way.
Yeah.
Like every single character has like a decision to make, and some of them make the wrong decision.
Yeah.
And you have Wakabi at the end, him and Okoye facing off.
Are they
And
married?
I think they're just lovers.
Okay. I didn't know.
But he's like, so you'd kill me? And she was like, for Wakanda, like,
Yep.
yeah, without question.
Yeah.
And then
Gosh.
that moment, like he doesn't even say anything. He just looks around at like what he had helped cause, and then drops. I'm like, and that's like so powerful. So it doesn't like abstain him from everything. Like, oh, everything's good now. It's like no, like he wasn't in the council room at the end. So
Yeah.
obviously
I didn't
something had to
notice
change.
that. That's good.
No, they told him to get out.
Delon with the jokes.
That was perfect. What's really cool too is that
Sorry, that was so good.
that was good. That was well timed too.
Oh man.
They had him on contract for this movie before Get Out came out.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Same with Sterling K. Brown before like This Is Us really took off. So,
Really?
Oh,
like you just
before
talk
he was
about,
like award winning.
You just talk about the perfect storm of like getting these actors on board with this film.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I think it was last year's Comic Con or the year before, where they had all the actors out, and everyone's like, "Oh wow, this really is an all black cast for Black Panther."
Yeah, you guys weren't joking.
I hadn't reviewed the cast that much, so like every 5 minutes I was leaning over to KK like, that's so and so from such and such, and that's so, and she's like, yeah, it's cool, but I was just so excited, just like everybody's in this movie.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute, Homeboy just won an Emmy,
Yeah.
and like here we have him, going
And even
halfway through the movie.
Claw was like, you know that's Caesar, right? And she's like, what? I don't like him. I was like, well, but that's Caesar. That's awesome. She's like, stop talking to me.
Stop talking to me. We're in a movie theater.
I did silently.
I hope that he said that he wants to be Green Lantern, Sterling, and like he's dead. So
Dude.
come on now.
Yeah, dude. I'd
Yes.
be all for that.
He can jump in. He can jump out of the Marvel universe and be John Stewart. Make it
Dude,
happen.
yeah.
Make it happen, DC.
Every scene with him again, like on
good.
repeat viewings, man. I'm just like,
Oh,
gosh, dude, just pulling
That
at
guy
my
is
heart,
awesome.
man.
His face, he does something with his face as an actor that like
Yeah.
is incredible.
He makes me
watch
cry, dude.
Even like his change of like his persona like changes.
Yeah.
Like when he's talking about the plan with like, and then the van, and then hide the straps, like stuff like that, and then
he
T'Challa
knows.
shows up, and then his whole manner
Yeah,
changes.
he's like, they won't knock again.
Yeah.
I was like, shoot, he already knows who they
Grace
are.
Jones looking at me.
Yes.
What a great reference.
Yeah. A lot of people were like, I don't know who Grace Jones is. Like, I got Grace Jones.
They Won't Knock Again was like the first like, all right, like
Yeah,
so
of
they
that
are.
movie for me. Like
We're
there's
not
that
messing
moment
around.
where I'm like, I'm into this movie. Like, but that line, I was like, yes, okay.
Yeah, that's good.
That entry was cool because like I remember the lights go out and then all of a sudden you flash and there's like Black Panther standing there. You're like, oh dang. So okay, cool thing. I told you this in the theater. The guy who plays young T'Chaka is actually old T'Chaka's real son.
The actor?
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Who's going to look like him as a younger person?
His son.
Probably his son. Do you have a son?
You just
Yes.
got to give him that lazy eye real quick.
Oh,
that-
We'll talk
my
about
God.
that.
It was so
Yeah.
distracting.
For a second.
Yeah,
Especially the close up
one
of his
eye in
face.
Wakanda.
And then
one
Close
eye
up
in
of his
Wakanda.
face. The close up of his face. You have his one eye blinks and the other one doesn't move. And I'm like,
I
completely.
know.
I'm out.
In a
I'm
movie
out.
where Forrest Whitaker's in, he doesn't have the laziest eyes.
His eyes stole the show, man.
You couldn't even give him the Forrest Whitaker eye.
eyes look like normal
You give him
relative to that.
the T'Chaka eye.
Sorry.
They
Oh
probably
my
cast him
gosh.
because of his eye. They're like, listen, you've been in Wakanda for that long working on plants. You gotta have a lazy eye.
But here's the thing: like, doesn't the metal cure stuff? Like, because I was telling you, I was like,
Like, you take
why,
that
why is
glass
his
eye
his
into the
dad's the
ancestral
only guy in
plane?
Wakanda wearing glasses? Like,
It's for looks, man. It's
can't she
fashionable.
like pour some?
Maybe he's just got to keep up the facade.
I don't know. Put some freaking. I can't think of them. What's the name of the metal right now?
Vibranium.
Vibranium. Pour some of that in like
Can't believe
your contacts or whatever, dude. Like, do something.
Listen, there is no prescription
They
strong
can-
enough to fix that eye.
They're like,
You gotta let it wander. You gotta let it wander.
He needs to get like punched in the side of the head by the Hulk to
was like-
get that set straight.
It's like, what happened? Like, what happened? I'm sorry to like the actor to T'Chaka. I was just saying, like, what? Maybe
No, I'm just gonna
that's
be honest
because
that
of
it
the
was
blast.
distracting
The
in
blast
those
from
sequences.
from Civil War it caused that. I don't know.
Even Forrest Whitaker, like in the theater when he first shows up with his eye, people kind of like laughed a little bit in the
Yeah.
theater because there's like a close up of his face as T'Challa comes out of like the plane and like is on there. He just looks at him and it's like, oh, that's Forrest Whitaker. Like,
Oh, that's very-
Oh man.
that's Ghost
I
Dog,
love you,
dude.
Forrest.
You know, we talked about the visuals a little bit, but you know what else visually I think, like, especially in repeat viewings again, like I noticed, is the costumes.
Oh,
And
The
not just like not just like the design, but like the color, the texture of everything. Like, it was really, really incredible. And I think that you get your first like real look at that going into Warrior Falls, like that first time with all the tribes coming together. Like, it's this distinct like look for each of them. But then that also, the look of all of them like combines this like Afrofuturism, like where it's like, no, it's not like just like traditional tribal stuff, but it seems like very modern at the same time.
Oh dang! When they pull up their like cloaks and they become shields, that part was cool, dude.
yeah,
They were
so
like,
good.
I was like, oh.
that was a great scene.
Yeah,
That was so good.
Immediately, that's where my brain went back. Is to when
That,
Circus is all like they sew it into the fabric.
Lip plate dude was styling like the whole movie.
Yeah, he
The what?
And he got
He had
so
a
much
nice
screen.
suit.
I was just going to talk about, he had the green, like,
He had a green
like
suit
this
on.
Yeah.
super dope suit.
Yeah.
And then the huge disc, like, and I was going to bring him up as the example of like where you look at this, like this collision of like traditional and modern, like
Yeah, he was
tribal and
perfect.
futuristic. Like, you see that in that character. And like every time he was on screen, like my eyes were on him,
Yeah,
like every single time.
yeah.
Him and for some reason there's like a really old lady that
It's like
Yeah, just
super
sitting
old.
the whole
she
time.
was super old.
Sitting and contemplating.
Yeah, when
the
everyone
whole
was like
time.
dancing and stuff, she was just sitting
She
there.
reminded me of my grandma. Like, it kind of like made me like sit up a little bit more whenever she came on, because I'm like, she's important. I don't know what she.
Remember, she was like,
her,
"We don't
but-
need a warrior.
Yeah.
We need a king."
She said we need a king.
Yeah.
Yeah, He was like, "Yeah, shut up. We're gonna go get this fool. We're gonna go get Claw."
I love though, like the movie continued as the story unfolded. Like it still maintained the tension in Wakanda, so it's a peaceful, advanced country, and world in its own way. But there's
it's
still
not like perfect.
Exactly. There's still a lot of differing views. There's still like a lot of different perspectives. You got M'Baku kind of out, in the mountains with his tribe, like not down with everyone else. Like it maintained the sense like there's still tension even in this very peaceful place.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, you get that in that conversation with Wakabi on the border, even too, where like, they're cool with everybody, but they kind of got their own idea of what they'd like to do too.
Yeah.
I think you begin to see like what that position entails for T'Challa. Like what he has to manage,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got to lead all these people with different expectations.
Yeah. So,
dude, how'd you feel about that line when Michael B. Jordan's in the museum?
Oh,
and the lady talks to him about that piece, and she's like, "Oh, it's not for sale." He's like, "What about your ancestors? You think they got that for a fair price?"
Oh gosh,
like,
yeah.
I'm like pulling at my neck
like
sleeve, all like awkwardly in the theater, like, "How near anybody else?"
Well, I wanted to look around. Like, I just want to look. Like, did anyone else catch that? Like,
everybody, did you guys hear that?
That was right for all of us in here.
He just delivered every line like every line he said was like a stab, dude, like a stab wound. It was like he's cutting under a scar on his arm, dude. Like what? Everything he said had like power in it, dude, and it was all purposeful. And I love how he switched in that scene from like he's like, "You're so busy like watching me like as I walked in here, you didn't watch what you just put in your body," like that part.
Yeah.
And then as she hits the ground, all of a sudden he goes into call a doctor. Yeah. Like he switches, dude. Like he like on a beat. Like he was playing like that whole
ice
situation.
Cold, man.
Yeah. Dang, dude. Like that was probably one of my favorite scenes, is because you already feel like he's playing her. Yeah. But he's being so distracting too. Like, oh, tell me about this. Tell me about this. And then getting her all like flustered. Plus, she's already dealing with like the bubble guts or whatever he gave her doing her coffee, And then the tension there was so good, and the perfect little shots, even of the coffee girl going, "Oh, I gotta get my break," and she's just like, "Yeah," like every little character, dude, so perfect.
When I saw him in the trailer, and I saw some kind of shot with him and Claw in there. I don't know what it was from, but I kind of just assumed, I was like, oh, like he must be Claw's like muscle, because I was hearing Claw's like the big guy or everything. Yeah. So it was really neat seeing that it was like not the case at all. Like he wasn't his like attack dog. He was he was
the alpha dog, dude.
Yeah, he was alpha dog. Yeah. There were a few things like also I had a fear that there was going to be the big doppelganger thing, because in the trailers you see the two suits fighting each other.
Yeah.
But then in the movie, that even made sense, because, he was the Black Panther, and then you got that. So I'm just like, wow, like everything just makes sense, because that was one of the things that turned me off a little bit. I'm like, oh, well, cool. We have two guys in the same Black Panther suit fighting each other. But no, it made perfect sense.
Yeah. My son wants the action figure, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't want that. The only one you can get is the Killmonger version of it. Like they don't, you can't find the T'Challa.
They're sold out?
I saw it one time and I just didn't get it.
Wow.
Now you want it.
And now I'm like, my son's like, "Dad, when can we get?" I'm like, "We can get Killmonger." "No, Dad, he has the silver necklace." I'm like, So I go, "He needs to fight somebody." No. Anyway, yeah, dude. That he's so good. He did a good job. Like Coogler and B. Jordan, dude. That's a team right there. That's like,
it really is.
Yeah, that's like a Scorsese, like DiCaprio situation.
Yeah, except for Ryan Coogler is freaking 31.
He's only 31?
Yeah.
Dang, dude.
This is his third movie.
Yeah, well, good job, dude.
Like, dang, dude, keep on going, please.
Black Panther.
Maybe just take back Creed from Sylvester Stallone real quick. I mean, if you want to.
Stallone's not directing it, though.
Oh, it wasn't him?
No, Coogler helped pick the second guy.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, all I know is that poster looks like trash. But we're not talking about that movie.
Yeah.
So I would say like it's one of those movies too where cinematography, it seemed really good, but not a lot of stuff like stuck out to me like, whoa, that camera shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was almost like unnoticed because it was just so smooth and everything was so good, except for
Here it comes.
when freaking Killmonger is walking into the
yeah.
throne room that first time.
Yes.
And it's like this upside down thing and then turns right side up. I was like,
dude.
you are telling us something, sir.
Yeah.
Like right there.
It's
Like,
upside down, dude. That's
So good.
yeah, loved it.
It didn't linger for too long to where it bothered you, but it definitely communicated.
No, but it was like
something
an
about,
impact,
yeah,
for
you were
sure.
like, oh man, things are not the way they should be
Yep.
as he ascends to this seat right now.
Yeah, that was good, man. The only thing that was bad in the movie was that second scene. The second time he went to like the ancestral plane looked like
Little CGI.
it looked a little off. It was like
it didn't look like he was actually there.
Yeah, the first time it did though. First time it felt like
100%.
I was like, what happened? Like
And it
Joss
was
Whedon,
so
Joss Whedon came in
gorgeous.
and reshot that whole scene, dude.
No.
That's what happened.
Let me do the big desert part. Let me get that with all the other guys walking. I got
Yeah.
you. I got you.
One of my favorite shots was with after Killmonger had them burn all the heart-shaped
gosh.
flower.
That was
And
a-
like he was just standing there and the flames and everything. I was
Yeah.
just like,
It was a
dude.
Just lighting up like
Yeah.
his jacked body. Like it was like freaking Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, there was a lot of these shots that are like that made you think, like, dude. Sometimes you need to have those like establishing shots or those like post like action shots of like just to kind of get the vastness of what just happened.
Yeah, because
Like,
that's
you
exactly
need
what
to
was
take it in.
happening.
Yeah,
then.
you need to take it in. You need to see all that stuff burning, which there's got to be more of that stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's done, and it's done well too, where you have those things, those shots that establish a feel or let you soak it in, but it did a great job of still having movement. Because we
Yeah.
talked about that a couple of weeks ago, I think, when we talked about Gotham by Gaslight,
Yeah.
and obviously there's a huge difference in like budget and all that blah 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 all this stuff. But it kind of illustrates that point of like you can still have those moments that linger, but you have to have some movement in it, even if it's just a little bit.
Yeah.
And so even in that scene where you have him standing there, like surrounded by all the fire, it wasn't like a static shot. Even though he was standing still, the camera was just slightly moving, so you felt like you were moving through that shot, you know.
Right.
And I think it just makes such a huge difference, like those little things like that.
Yeah, I felt the weight of the history of those plants being like grown, preserved, developed, and he's like, another king? No, like burn it all.
Yeah,
I'm like,
dude.
oh my, like the whole.
I'm just in there like,
Which is
no,
like pretty
don't
big
do that.
implications going forward.
Yeah, because you're like, T'Challa, what's he going to drink after this? If he ever's going to be challenged for the throne,
Yeah.
he's got to drink the juice to like remove the powers and then
Yeah.
re-drink the juice.
Like,
after
can they have another Black Panther?
Man,
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the question of like, dang, dude, like they're just all about
There's
like
some more,
blowing up
dude.
things in the
There's
MCU.
like, they'll
a
find
tree
some. Like,
somewhere.
yeah. They're like, oh, did you look over here? Like, oh, it was in the fridge. They had some in the back.
Is there anything that you guys maybe thought was like a detractor? Or maybe I think it's a safe bet that none of us would be like this sucked about the movie. But was there something that maybe wasn't as strong as maybe other things that stuck out to you?
The rhinos the first time.
Oh yeah.
Like when they're first charging in?
No, when
he's feeding him
when
the apple?
Kabi was feeding him the apple.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge thing, but I'm like, oh, all right.
He's a
like
farmer with
rhinos, like they just didn't look
Just the
real
fact
at
that he had-
all.
oh,
Like,
okay,
the
so it's
CGI
like the CGI.
rhino.
Got it,
Yeah, I was just like, why? I mean, they're real rhinos, but I guess maybe that's a little harder to work with than other. I don't know. Whatever.
Yo, no more rhinos on set, man. Just FYI, dude. Don't talk about the George the Jungle incident from the 90s. Like, we just can't, dude. We can't go there no more.
Yeah, my critique would maybe be along the similar vein of some of the CGI in the final battle was like the rhinos. I was like, you got away with that.
Yeah.
But the moment of T'Challa and Killmonger falling down into like the mining part, I thought was beautifully seen. The music stops and you just hear them like pounding
That
each other.
was so cool.
Oh,
But then I
dude,
was like,
the sound design, that
it
was
felt like
great.
a lot of CGI.
Yeah.
With the suits on the track, I was like, man, it took away a little bit from me.
Mm-hmm.
That'd probably be like one of the very few critiques I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you can tell a lot of the CGI work there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like there was something weird about the enunciation and the facial movement of Angela Bassett at times.
Really?
The way she was doing stuff and shaping her mouth, like it felt like she was really trying for that accent to me. And I feel like we're all going to have like all the things we bring up right now are going to be like nitpicks, right? Like it wasn't like it ruined the movie. But I would say that would be one thing. And then I think as well as good of a job as Michael B. Jordan did delivering all of his lines, because he had a lot of really good like stingers. The very last one about like being buried in the ocean and stuff like that, that was like the closest it came to heavy-handed for me. Even though I didn't hate the line itself, his delivery of it, I was like, that's like the one line where I was like, he didn't seem like he believed it quite as much. Because every other line he did was just like this.
I don't know. I thought that was powerful, dude, when he said that. Like, it was like, to me, like, it just, you felt like.
No, it was a beautiful line, and I think it illustrated his point for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, more like his delivery of it just felt different than some of the other ones. And like I said, like it's nitpicking, and it's like, I think it was getting close to feeling as close as the movie was going to feel to getting heavy-handed.
Gotcha.
But I still thought it was good.
Yeah.
Anything for you, Justin, that stuck out? That
No, my thing was just more. I wanted to see more of the land, you know, and I wish that claw stuck around. Other than that, my only issue, I guess, was when I first saw it. It was really hard to see the fight scenes in the beginning, but
yes,
the second scene,
That's
it
true.
was way better at the Galaxy. Like, I was like, oh, my issues are not there anymore. Like, I can see what's going on.
Yeah.
So it depends on where you were. It just
that initial
felt,
one where it's in the dark and the
it was
the,
really
the gunfire is kind of the
like,
only.
it was
thing
super
that's
murky,
lighting.
but watching it the second time, issue completely gone. So, yeah, man, I think I agree with Fredo on the CGI part at the end. The fight kind of was standard, like, oh, here's this superhero CGI situation, but
I feel like it completely got.
It wasn't.
Like, I wouldn't put it in there with like the fight scene in Wonder Woman.
no. I would say, but like if you're asking me to find a flaw, I think that's where it was. Everything was good. Like every character in this movie was good. Story was good. It didn't feel like. Sorry, I'm going to bring it up, but it didn't feel like a Doctor Strange situation where this is just Iron Man, right? Like this is the same beats. It didn't have the same beats, but it did there was a part that reminded me of Iron Man, but I just thought it was cool. Like maybe it's a Marvel thing, but when he dropped out of the ship in the beginning, it just reminded me of like Iron Man, like dropping out, like.
Oh, that's
like,
really
just going
funny
through the
because
ground.
that reminded me actually of Captain America in Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah,
he
maybe,
was like
maybe.
he doesn't use a parachute.
Yeah. It's just like a similar, like something Marvel they've done, like they just drop and they just kind of go straight down. Just,
Heroes drop, man.
yeah, heroes drop, dude. That was cool.
I don't need no door.
So yeah, I don't got anything here. Just it was fun, man. It was a good movie, and I think maybe it was a little slow towards the end, but more so for kids. You know, like
I can see that. Like I noticed that it was slower than other Marvel movies. I think.
Yeah.
In my mind, I kind of liked that though. Like I think it had its own pace, and it like didn't apologize for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this isn't a bad thing actually. What I'm going to say is I love that the love story part of it aspect wasn't so like in your face. It was there, but it was just kind of like a thing. The worst it got was at the end. And again, it wasn't worse. It was just like that was the most blatant it was, where he goes in and kisses her. He's like, "Come on, I died yesterday," or whatever. Like,
he's like, "I almost died."
I almost died. Like.
But I understand, like, because you also saw it with your boys, like the first time though too. So that was probably the reaction of like, "Oh man,"
yeah,
like, that's how my boys are.
Yeah, they're like, yeah. So. Yeah, it was good, man. Of all the Marvel movies that have come out, I think I can't do a Marvel movie ranking right now because my number one it's not my number one Marvel movie. My number one still is Winter Soldier. I just think that movie's so good. Like,
yeah, I think we can do that at the end. What do you think about? So I'll give you a minute to think about like maybe just talking about if it like breaks your top 5 or where it kind of.
It definitely breaks the top 5 of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But I don't have like a ranking of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because I just think my top is like Winter Soldier. But it's like Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, I'd say like Black Panther, and probably like 2 Avengers or something like that. Yeah. Why'd you? Matt shook his head in disapproval.
I was waiting for you to say Civil War.
Civil War is good, but it's not as good, you know?
Okay, so Fredo, did this movie break your top 5 MCU movies?
For sure.
And
yeah.
did it hit the number one spot?
It broke my top 10, I think, movies in general.
Oh, dang.
Because
Okay.
it's so much, it's much more than like a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I like about it so much is you can bring someone to this movie who's never seen a single Marvel movie before.
Yeah.
And they totally know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like they're brought up to speed.
Yeah,
So-
you don't have to
Yeah.
know. You don't have to have a vast knowledge of like, oh, I didn't see Iron Man 3.
When you saw the evidence of that too, in that like trying to get a ticket for this thing over the weekend
Oh gosh,
Yes.
was like impossible.
So many showings, all sold out.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of people that were like that had no comic book interest at all and went to go see that, and they just loved it.
Yeah,
So that was really cool to see.
Did you make them feel bad and go, no, buy comics?
No.
So Fredo, is it the best MCU movie for you? Does it knock number 1 out?
I don't know. I think I need to give it some time.
That's fair.
I want to see it. I want to see it at my own home again, and then maybe compare it to like a movie like Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But it's
Totally.
as a standalone, it's in my top 2 for sure.
Nice.
Fighting for the top.
Delon?
Nothing beats Civil War for me, man. Like Civil War is just amazing. And I saw Black Panther in like the 4th row back, so I need to go see it again.
Oh yeah, you need to see that again.
Yeah.
When
We
the
won't
action
make you-
started, like it hurt my eyes a little bit. So I need to go back so I can see all these action parts you're talking about, because like I saw them, but I was so concerned with like not throwing up that I didn't pay as much attention to it. I was like, could they please start talking again? Because
Yeah.
I need this to like slow
Yeah,
down
totally.
a little bit. But it's definitely, I would say top 5 or even like top 3, because it was. I'm really biased in my choices, so Spider-Man would probably end up in there somewhat. But I don't know. That was an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think we all kind of fall in that. Like, it's still really early to tell, like, if it's like the best MCU movie.
Yeah. I'm also
'Cause-
glad they didn't put any Infinity Stones in it.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
So grateful for that.
I thought that was the one thing I forgot to say. I thought there was going to be like,
Something about it.
yeah, something about like
Nah, they leave that
vibranium
for
was going to
Infinity War,
be was
which I
going to
think
be
is a good
a
idea.
stone or something, and so
Nah,
it was
none of that stuff seemed forced. Like they needed to force any kind of like other Marvel stuff in there or anything,
Yeah.
and it made sense. I mean, it's Wakanda, it's totally separate, but I didn't see a whole lot of forced Easter eggs in anything.
no, just
And
Ross. He was the only tissue, to be honest.
Yeah.
I always go afterwards on the internet after watching a movie and just scour it to find all the Easter eggs and stuff, and there wasn't
There's
a
not a
whole lot
ton.
going on. And that
Dude,
was
the
kind of
worst
awesome.
Easter egg I saw, I forgot what list. It was probably like on comic book movie or something dumb like that. And they're like, Shuri mentions the Wizard of Oz. She says Kansas because it's like the Wizard of Oz.
Oh
That's
my
not an
gosh.
Easter egg. That's just her.
That's not what
a
an
great
Easter egg
just-
is.
It was just
cultural reference.
it was Captain America's like, I got that.
Did you see that it supposedly topped The Wizard of Oz on Rotten Tomatoes as the best? However, Rotten Tomatoes judges things like the best movie of all time.
Yeah, it's like in the top. It's in the top 5 of ratings right now.
Really, that's good.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
incredible.
I don't understand really how they do their stuff.
Yeah.
but-
Just
I
aggregate.
don't understand the math
good
of that,
reviews.
but
Yeah.
On that note, you were saying though about the MCU and like not needing the Infinity Stones. It didn't need any of that, but it still progresses the story arc.
Yep.
Oh,
And, like,
yeah.
it really gets you ready for Infinity War.
Especially when you see in that trailer, like it was cool seeing that they were in Wakanda, obviously. But
Yeah.
then after seeing this, like
Now you know
I'm
why.
so pumped
You're
for
like,
it.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I
I'm
want
down
that
with some more
vibranium.
Wakanda. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
They're like, hey, so about all those weapons you got, now that you're not hidden, give us some of that purple stuff. Come on, here's with those weapons. Well, it's all purple. It's
purple.
Yeah.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Purple drink gives him his powers.
Whoa, that's
Oh
on another
man.
level. That's
Oh
awesome.
no.
I see you, Ryan Coogler.
Oh man.
So maybe before we give like closing thoughts and like ratings and stuff,
Yeah.
do you guys have any ideas or hopes or dreams for where this goes next? Like for him as a character, or just for this like movie franchise? Like,
I don't know, man. You gotta
Black
check
Panther
Screen Rant.
2?
They got they got the
gosh.
sequel.
Oh my
like-
gosh.
are you serious?
That clickbait
The
article.
dumbest article the
Oh,
day
no.
after is just like oh, news on trailer for Black Panther 2 casting, blah, blah, blah. And each section was like, trailer. There's not a trailer released yet. Cast.
No,
we
duh.
don't know anything for sure on the
Well,
cast
no,
yet.
duh.
Everything was
This is where we
I
just
don't
get
know.
nerdy and we like talk about like what would you like to see or what do you think
That's
we
this
could
week's
see?
Trash Juice is Screen Rant. There you go.
I'd
dude.
like to see some. Now that we saw, him in his own element and everything, the way they did Ragnarok and had Hulk kind of buddy film thing, I'd like to see him interact with other characters. Because I mean, we got a little bit of that in Civil War, but maybe even some more of the jokier characters. Because I love how stoic and serious he is, and that would be fun to.
But I think he can have a little fun because he kind of. I love the banner with him and his sister.
Yeah, but
And he's even like, I don't freeze. And it's like,
Yeah.
she was like an
Oh,
antelope.
like an antelope in headlights.
Who is
That
it
was great.
It was like I was it Hawkeye that introduced himself in Civil War, and somebody
Yes.
and he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
I loved that.
like those moments. I want more of that, and
Yeah.
I want somehow for Killmonger to come back because I'm sorry, I love that dude.
Maybe he'll interact
No,
on the
it's a good character,
ancestral
man.
plane.
Oh, dang.
Some,
yeah.
some kind
There'll
of
be a thing where like,
communication with the ancestors. She'll be there
he's like, now I'm
because
here.
he technically was a king for a season.
Oh,
A season of a day. So
look
That's
at
true,
you.
that's
maybe
true.
he's gonna earn that right. I don't know. We'll
Deep
see.
cuts, deep cuts.
What do you think, Justin? Anything you would want to see? Or think we might see?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see more of the city. I think like
You
the
in that
obvious
city,
thing
man.
is, yeah, dude. I just like hover. I like he's all. You have hover bikes. That part was cool, dude. I wish they have hoverboards, dude. If they have a hoverboard, that would be
man.
so awesome, dude. Because they said his dad was a fan of that movie.
They definitely
They
built some.
basically said Back
For
to the
the
Future
wintertime.
2. You'll have it, but it would be interesting to see like. But the only thing is, it's like the obvious thing to go to is like, okay, now that we've become public, then have their infrastructure like be taken down somehow. Like, so I don't know if I want to see that. I feel like they can probably go there if they don't have a good idea. I like the idea of him like kind of being out of his element, being in America for some whatever reason but I want to see more of the land too. So I don't know, man. I just want Ryan Coogler to come back. I don't want it to be someone else. I want him to kind of keep his hands on it, kind of like James Gunn's hands on.
Oh, they got to give it to him. I don't
yeah.
know how they don't for part 2.
Hopefully he can. He's hot right now, dude. Like he was already hot, and so him coming in on this, I mean, he's gonna have so many different options. What I want Marvel to do is just let him come back. So let him tell a story that he wants to tell. Don't like push him out the door. Like let him do what he needs to do and give him those freedoms. Because I feel like when you have a team like the Russos, you saw what they got to do with Winter Soldier. You saw what they did with Civil War,
Right.
And you see like hopefully like Infinity War, like
Oh gosh,
that pays off as well. And you see
Coming.
hopefully even with James Gunn, and like say what you want about Guardians too, like it wasn't as good as Guardians, but it's still his character, it's still his thumbprint on it. So I would say let Coogler like run this show, because obviously he made it work. Like we live in a world, and this will be the only like mention I do, where Black Panther just killed Justice League, like the number one superheroes in the world, right? When you think about like what do people tend to think of?
As far as like iconography.
Yeah, they think about Superman,
right.
Batman, Spider-Man, like those characters. And, in a weekend, just decimated it. And I think it's because I think people want more than just Superman, Batman. Like, those are great characters, but I think now that we've seen there's other stuff out there, like, I've seen 7 movies of Batman. I've never seen Black Panther, and I've never seen, Ant-Man, and I've never seen Wonder Woman. And so I think it's cool when you start seeing these different characters that you haven't really like got to like digest in movies, because like we've seen them all. We're like, oh yeah, whatever. Like we'll watch every one of them. But the movie going audience, sorry, I'm going to a whole different area, but I think that's why these characters are doing well and these movies are doing well, is because they're throwing something different out there. Like, oh, well, I want to see that. That looks different. It doesn't look like the same thing I already saw. Because I even think like with Iron Man and Captain America, like it's going to be good if they can give them a little bit of a time on the bench so that we can check out these other characters that are coming down the pipe. So there we go.
And MODOK.
Yeah, I'd love to see.
And MODOK.
And MODOK. I would say a live action MODOK. I think that's cool.
That's for James. Shout out to
There
James.
you go, James. You got it.
I don't even know who that is.
I promised him I would mention MODOK at some point.
Nice.
So there you
Brought
go.
him in.
What about you, Fredo? Anything you're hoping to see or think this might lead to, like in whether it's him in other movies or like a Black Panther sequel?
Yeah, so I agree with Justin. Definitely sequel with Coogler. And I think because this ends with them back in Oakland and starting this new kind of like interaction where there's like almost like a two-way street of we're gonna provide scientific like and all these advancements and try to make this a better world. It's almost hard for us not to return to like the ramifications of that.
Yes.
Because one of the things that resonated so much with me at the end of this movie was like this king and his nation decides to become vulnerable for the sake of others, you know, and like we're going to become vulnerable so that we can make this a better place and for your good, which at the core is like basically learning how to love your neighbor. And so it'd be hard for them to do part 2 and not in some way address what's happened as a result of that.
Yeah.
So, but I'd like to see him, with that said, I'd like to see him outside of Wakanda. I think it would be great to see Black Panther more in the world that we all inhabit now. So, because it was so good at continuing the Marvel story and so good at like just basically telling us our own story, you know?
Yeah.
So,
And it can because he's setting up all those like Wakanda like educational like centers too. So
Yeah,
there's
it gives
merit
an opportunity to get him out of Wakanda
Yeah.
for a purpose.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would agree. Like, I would almost similarly, but almost like kind of like juxtapose it a little bit. Is this seems like it could set up a nation under our feet sort of scenario where like he's like, yeah, I'm setting up these things around the world, and yeah, I'm with the Avengers fighting off Thanos, and yeah, we're opening up to the world, and the people in Wakanda being like, whoa, 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 whoa.
yeah, where you
That little lady,
what?
she's gonna be like, "We need a king." She's coming back.
But that similar kind of vibe of people being like, hold on, you're just going to unilaterally decide that you're going to expose all of us?
yeah.
All of a sudden, and you went off with these other guys like that we don't even know, like you weren't here for us, protecting us.
Yeah.
If they wanted to go that direction, I feel like they could. And then I think completely bring in the villains from that story arc.
That would be
because
good.
What were their names again? Delon, do you remember?
Tetu and
Zenzi.
Yeah.
But you bring in these other characters that like kind of challenge the king, but again are well rounded. But I think they're not like technologically based. They're more like kind of like mystically like kind of based. And so I feel like that is something that would be like really interesting. Like, okay, we get the technological, the kind of warrior side. Like, what would be something else that kind of challenges the character?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I would love to see Coogler like tackle something like that. And I agree. Like, you got to bring him back. Like, you got to give him that. And maybe I'll even like kick off. I'll just go right into like kind of closing, like kind of thoughts and then rating it, because what Justin said reminded me what I've wanted to say. Like,
Wait, did Delon say what he wanted the future to be?
Buddy stuff. And
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
and now I really want
and
I want
Killmonger
the
come back to
America
life.
stuff to blow up in his face, and
Yeah.
then everybody get mad, and he can learn from it, and then tell everybody in Wakanda off because he's a king.
Yeah.
Because I think there should be some more growing pains of him becoming king.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think all of us like we'll take turns like doing some closing thoughts, like we'll rate it, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But something Justin said that I've kind of had in my mind like the last few days I've been thinking about is I don't know if it's necessarily just that Black Panther is this newer character that we're not exposed to, although I think that plays into it. I think it's that this movie in every single aspect had like a unified vision and direction.
Yeah.
You had one person with their hands on the wheel.
Yeah.
And that was it. From the soundtrack to the score to the film, like to the writing, to the directing. Like Coogler had his hands on this and had a vision for the story he wanted to tell.
Yeah.
And Marvel let him tell it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I can tell you,
Yeah.
like as you bring up, like because I was thinking about this, I was like, Justice League is just the latest example, not the only example by any means, where you can be like, I see a lot of fingerprints on this movie.
Yeah.
and it wasn't a unified vision, and so therefore it suffered for it.
Yeah, like most movies in the genre do. Like Green Lantern
Yeah.
had the same issue. Too many people in the kitchen trying to like.
And I would say other Marvel movies have done that, where I'm like, yeah, this is kind of a little bit
Thor,
of a
Dark
hodgepodge,
World.
probably.
Yeah, Avengers 2.
Yeah,
Like-
where it's
gosh,
like, guys, we gotta do this thing, but we gotta do this thing, but we gotta do this thing, and I'm like, no, man, this was an example of where someone had a story, they had a vision for what it needed to look like, to feel like, to be like, and you let them execute it, and then lo and behold, look how well it turns out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You get
people wanna
someone
see
that's
it.
capable, that's talented in that seat, and you let them do their thing. Like
Yeah.
that's going to be something important and magical. And I would say, it's weird to say magical, but I mean, it really is something special. Maybe that's a better word.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you almost have to have two conversations about Black Panther. You talk about like the excellence of it and how good it is as a movie, but then you have to address how special it is.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really special. There aren't a lot of movies that are doing what this movie is doing. And I think if I can say like just personally, like I'm not black. My kids are not black. This character affects us, and his story affects us.
Yeah.
It inspires us in a way that I think I'm learning that a lot of people have experienced in movies that I take for granted. And now I'm experiencing something that it doesn't need to be translated for me in every single second of the movie, but I can experience this in a different way where it's really meaningful, and it gives me a window into something else that I don't regularly experience.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm like getting emotional talking about. Like I'm excited for my kids to experience. And to just be stupid and funny, like my son had to do this like poster thing for his kindergarten class this week, and one of the things was who you want to be when you grow up, and he wrote Black Panther in the box, and he is like, and I've said this before, he is the whitest kid I own. Like he is like blonde hair, super like bright blue eyes, palest skin out of all of my kids, and this character is like it doesn't register any other way for him than like I want to be that. Yeah. I'm like, man, like there's something as a dad, as a comic book fan, as a person who loves stories, like that chokes me up.
Yeah.
Like that's not the norm for some kids growing up.
Yeah.
To see something that's not like them and to be affected by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Grant Morrison says in his book Super Gods, like our heroes are the ideals that we create and project ourselves onto. So for us to finally have an African American hero that like speaks so prophetically.
Well, he's just African.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There you
He's
go.
just African.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
He's just
good
African.
catch.
I was thinking of the actor, but yeah.
Yeah,
you're
sorry.
right.
Yeah.
He at his roots he's absolutely African.
Yeah. And the qualifier for me, for my son that wants to be Black Panther when he grows up, he also likes Darth Maul from Star Wars, and he likes Jackson Storm from Cars 3. So I'm like, I think you just like the people that come out on top. But hey, you know what? I think the other stuff will fall into place there, and it's something as a dad that I think is really special for my like white kids to experience. Like, man, there are people that are different than you in cultures that you don't naturally understand that are going to challenge you and bring such like wonderful richness to your experience in this world.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like similar, like in the same sentiment. Like my son was really pumped for Black. He broke the rule in our house. The rule in our house is don't bring Lego out of the house because you can with Lego lose it. So after the movie,
step on it.
After the, or step on it in the middle of the night. After the movie, he rides little Black Panther and he fell out of his pocket, and so we're like looking on the ground.
Oh no!
And so, anyways, it was just that excitement for this character. And here's the thing: Black Panther looks cool. Like there's that first part of it. He just looks cool. He's all in black. He's got some silver highlights, and he's got like freaking sharp claws. Like that was like. He's got claws, Dad. Like,
those purple
the purple highlights.
they
the
bring in
nanites.
this movie didn't hurt either.
Yeah, that's cool. And so it's neat that it's for it's kind of, this is gonna sound weird. It's like his Roadblock. Like one of my favorite G.I. Joes was Roadblock. I loved how he like rhymed and everything. You know, it was cool. Like I was like, dude, his whole backstory was like he was like the cook, but he was also like really great with like heavy artillery, and he always had a rhyme. I don't know. So it was like it's cool that he has his like his guy that he can go to, like, but it has nothing to do with him. It's I don't want this to sound bad. It's not like it has nothing to do with him being like a black superhero. It just has something to do with him. Like, oh, he's cool, and I like this about him, and then that's why he gravitates towards him. But on the whole flip side, it's cool for like kids that are black. They're like, now I see myself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I can't speak for that because that's not
in
my
multiple ways.
Yeah.
Like all these facets
Right.
represented in this movie. So maybe you don't feel like T'Challa. Maybe you represent, you know what I mean? You're represented by this, like, it's crazy.
Yeah. So anyways, so the experience is completely different for me as it would probably be like for you. And like when Miles gets older, you're going to be like,
Yeah, like this movie for me, part of the reason that I was nervous, you know, one, because I was talking to you guys about how I didn't want it to be judged on just the fact that it's a black superhero.
yeah.
But two, I was really excited because there hasn't, I mean, people say, oh, the first black superhero, he's not in movies, but there hasn't been anything of this scale to where he's seen as more than that. Like he's not, like you guys are saying, he's not just a black superhero. And I'd see that in a lot of black superheroes, that their main thing was they're black. And that's, of course, a big part of him. It's not like they don't shy away from that, but he's such a bigger character than that, that it's just beautiful, man. Like I'm like proud, like, and it's like weird. I am like, I don't know. I feel proud about it.
Yeah.
But my favorite thing I think about this whole experience with seeing how well it's doing and how it's affecting you guys and everything is that how inclusive it is, like to where this could be something that could be very exclusive. And I'm sure there are people that want to, I don't want to say that even, but like you could take this and go, oh, well, we got one now, and look, he's better than that and everything. And it's like, it's not that at all. Like the movie, one of the major themes of the movie is inclusion. And it seems like this whole thing is a celebration of inclusion rather than, this is a movie that has mostly black people and just like, but it doesn't matter. Like it has mostly black people, and it's still this big inclusive thing. And I think that's something that the world needs a lot right now. And it's so beautiful that this comic book movie is doing that, like about this fake land and these fake characters, but it's so real. And like looking around the theater to just see like normally when you're seeing a movie with that many black people, it's a whole lot of black people in the audience, and it wasn't like, and
That's true.
That's weird to me. That's so weird, but it's a good weird. Yeah. And I'm like, I really, really want this to continue. You know, like this could be the start of something really big.
Yeah. I love that you pointed out it's so inclusive, because it really is, especially with his speech in the end to the UN.
Exactly.
About building bridges and learning how to treat each other and love each other well. Like, oh man, it was preaching, but without preaching. Like, It was so good. I wish like more religious movies, you know,
were
like,
that good,
how
right?
to, like tell a story like that, because it was so compelling. Yeah,
and the other side of it is T'Challa was on that side in the beginning. Like he didn't want to be inclusive.
Yeah,
it took all of this.
That is so awesome.
Yeah,
the main character of the movie.
Yeah, the way it was told and the way it was delivered was like. That was good. I'm glad that's how it came out. This movie's for everybody, you know? Yeah. But some people are going to have a viewing experience where like, dude, like, and it makes me excited. Like, oh, dude, I'm going to watch this like awesome black superhero that now like I have this character that I can say, dude, that's me. Like, I think that's awesome. And it makes me excited. Like for like Bennett at work, dude, he doesn't read any comics, but he's like all excited about this. He's like, dude, I'm going to go. He's like, he was telling other friend Jordan like how he all these different outfits he's gonna go see it, and so just to see that makes me happy, because I'm like for a whole different reason I'm like, oh dude, someone's gonna get exposed to comics. Like I'm thinking about like just as it for being a conductor into my world. My world is, I look at it as my world is just this world of like comics, and I get excited when people are like, they ask me about it. I'm like, see, there's comics, there's something for everybody, but no one doesn't know, because something like Black Panther lets people see like, oh, there is something else out there. Like,
And I think it purposefully like crosses that boundary and doesn't
Yeah.
wait for people to come to them.
yeah,
Like this movie like reached across and said, hey, there's something valuable here in this story. And it didn't say, hey, there's something valuable if you want to come check it out, but I'm not going to make you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think there's something, even if they don't end up buying a comic book, they've just been affected by the history and the story and the creators. Like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby affected these theaters full of black folks in a way, right? Like, which is bananas to think because they didn't get it perfect. They didn't get it perfect when they created this character and brought him in, right?
No.
But this has become something that's become so special and so meaningful to not just black people, but everybody. But man, like you think of some two white dudes in the 60s, like just like, yeah, we need this kind of character. Let's throw them in there. Probably it was like, I don't know what their mindset was or whatever, but to think like now 50 something years later, like that's bananas. Like even if they never touch a comic book, all of these people have been affected by a story. And I think it just like, I think sometimes like we get caught in the weeds a little bit when we talk about comics and stuff, but really it's about like good stories and people are affected and we live through and we live in stories.
Yeah.
What's your rating? Final rating?
Gotta go.
Gotta go. Absolutely.
Gotta go.
Gotta go.
There you go. Black Panther in theaters now. It's a gotta go. Or if you listen to this later, it's on digital. Go get it.
Potentially a few months down the
Disney's
road.
new streaming service.
All right, Delon, how can people hit you up?
Um,
If they're like, man, your heartfelt message at the end of the episode really made me think about life. I want to tell you. I want to congratulate you.
you can get me on Instagram at Harold or Delon.
Hey,
I probably won't answer because I never go on Instagram.
but you're also on Twitter too, under that same moniker.
Oh
right?
yeah, which I think I deleted.
So don't go to Twitter.
Oh gosh, guys.
Don't be
I'm
hurt
sorry.
when I don't say anything.
All right.
Fredo, where are people going to find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Fredo_Ramos.
There you go. Very easy.
Yep. You can find me at Matt Ritchie, MatTRichey on Twitter.
Awesome. And you can find me at J_Rocca on Twitter. You can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at Let's Go Comic Show. You can find us online at www.letsgocast.com, where you can find this show and the Let's Go podcast and our new show, Start Today, with Eric and Mike. Please go to our website and buy some merch. Support the show. Everything you buy goes back into the show, and it helps us, pay for mics or for like cups of water or things like that. But if you're really feeling thrifty and you're like, hey, man, that experience touched me, it hit my heart and all the other parts of my body, you can go to our patreon.com/letsgocast and you can join the Let's Go podcast, like army, right? Are we an army or just maybe a gang? Bunch of guys.
Maybe like Peace Corps?
The Let's Go Comic Show
Tribe.
guys
Outreach
that hang
Center?
out by a car in the parking
Let's
lot.
Go Comic Show Outreach Center.
The outreach.
There we go. Yeah, join it.
Found in Oakland.
You can throw down $1, $5, whatever you want. And that would make us all very happy. But say, hey, man, I go to college and I got no money. So go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review and some nice words, and that would be just as special. So thank you to all of our guests. It was nice, guys.
Thank you.
Being here,
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
This is
And
special.
This is a long one, but it makes up for last week because it was Valentine's Day.
Indeed.
And we were like taking care of our wives. So this week we're going to take care of your lives, right?
Hey.
Hey, there you go. So my name is Justin.
I'm Matt.
I'm Delon.
I'm Fredo.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go!